Hey there! In today's video, we're delving into the world of bypass brewing. If you watched my previous video, then you'll know that I tested a bunch of different recipes and techniques for the Aeropress to find what I liked. If you haven't watched that video, I highly recommend that you do for context. So I will pop a link down in the description, go watch it, and then once you have, come back to this video. For those that did watch that video, you'll know that my recipe was good, but there were still things that could be improved and still a lot more to be wanted from the coffee out of it. So I thought, what better way to improve my coffee than to explore bypass brewing? At the time, I didn't really understand what bypass brewing was. All I understood was you make a concentrate and top the concentrate up with as much water as you want. And this basically eliminates the need for a larger brewer, meaning that you can bypass the limitations of the Aeropress's size by making a concentrate and just topping it up with as much water as you want to make a big old fat cup of coffee. So I started by taking all of the things that I liked about the previous recipe, and then I converted it into a bypass friendly brew. And this gave me a starting recipe of 20 grams of coffee, 100 grams of water at 90 Celsius, 15 seconds of agitation, and then a 2-minute steep. And then brewing with this recipe and tasting it, this is when I encountered my first problem. The coffee tasted great on its own as a concentrate, but as soon as I added water to it, it all just collapsed. The flavor gone, just watery coffee. My assumption was that I needed to increase extraction to make the brew more viable for bypass. So I tightened up my ratio. I went shorter on the steep, but finer on the grind size to try and front load extraction and avoid astringency and bitterness. But the same thing happened again. The coffee tasted good on its own, but as soon as water was added, the whole thing just collapsed. And this is when I realized something super important. Bypass exposes weaknesses in your coffee. If the brew is lacking structure or concentration, then adding water doesn't improve it, it only makes the problems more obvious. So while the coffee tasted great on its own, it didn't have the structure it needed to survive dilution. I kept changing variables, trying to brute force extraction, but nothing was working. At that point, I was not improving the brew, I was just over extracting it and making it worse. And that all came from one misconception. I didn't really know much about bypass brewing, as I said at the start of this video, so naturally, I just treated it like making an Americano. Make a super strong concentrate and then dilute it with as much water as you want. But bypass doesn't work that way for filter or immersion. The dilution threshold is a lot lower for those brewing methods compared to espresso, because espresso has a much higher TDS. It is so much more concentrated that you can add 100 grams, 150 grams, 200 grams of water and it still tastes pretty strong. I was adding 80, 100 grams to the base brew weight of 60 grams, when in reality, I should have only been adding about 50 to 70% of the total brew weight, which is roughly 40 grams in this case. And that was the mistake that I made. So I took a step back, pulled back on the extraction slightly, emphasizing acidity and sweetness. And then I used far less bypass water, like I said, around 40, 50 grams. And surprise, surprise, the coffee tasted amazing. And that's when bypass finally made sense to me. It's not all about making the largest cup of coffee that you can, it's there to finish off the coffee. When you get the extraction right, bypass rewards you with a cup that's rounder, smoother, and more enjoyable to drink. But brew the coffee poorly and bypass just highlights the bad flavors and hollows it out. And this is the recipe that finally made bypass click for me. Okay, for this recipe, we're going to need 20 grams of coffee, grind size 2 clicks from the Aeropress setting on the Wilfer Savart grinder. You can see there, Aeropress grind setting, 2 clicks. Coffee goes in. Take your Aeropress, invert it, place it on the scales. Coffee goes in, give it a little shake to just even out the bed. Don't know if this does anything to improve the coffee, it's just something I like to do. Tear off your scales, and then you're going to pour 80 grams of water over the bed pretty quickly. Take your paddle, start the timer, and you're going to stir back and forth for 25 seconds. And you're going to leave the cap off. The reason why is because you want the brew to lose a little bit of heat as it nears the end of the extraction. And we're letting this steep for 2 minutes. We're coming up to 2 minutes now, so we'll pop our cap on, invert it, and then very slowly press through, only pressing as much as the coffee wants you to. During my testing, I tested whether the hiss at the end of the plunge on the Aeropress actually changes the flavour at all of the end brew. I did this by separating the 2 liquids out, so I pressed until like a centimetre above where it would usually hiss, and then I transferred the Aeropress onto a different cup and pressed through the hiss. And then I tested and compared the 2 different liquids, and I actually found that there's no difference. So ignore what I said in my previous video about the hiss being bad. To be honest, I don't see any difference whatsoever. That was just me regurgitating what I discovered online doing research for this. So push all the way through if you want. If you find that it does cause bitterness in your case, then you don't need to. So we now have our base concentration, and it's around about 50-60 grams of coffee. So you're now going to tare your scales. It's up to you whether you drink this as it is or you add extra water, but I'm going to add some extra water. So we tared our scales. I found that the most water that I can add to this without making it too watery or tasteless is around about 60 grams, so about double the amount of the brew weight. But you don't need to go that far. I'm only going to add 40 grams. Give it a stir to make sure it's all combined, all mixed. And that is the brew complete. So you may be wondering, if bypass isn't all about making a massive heaping coffee and you can only add like 40 or 60 grams of extra water, then what's the point? And I asked myself the same question, but you have to go back to what I was saying earlier. This isn't espresso. This is a much lower TDS brew. So in order to get more coffee out of the brewer, you need to increase the amount of coffee that you put in and the amount of water that you put in. So if you think this is too small, then you need to increase the amount. You could do 35 grams of coffee to 150 milliliters of water, and then at the end of that brew you could add maybe another 100, 120 grams of water on top of that, and that would give you a pretty big cup. But you're not going to get a massive cup with 10, 20 grams of coffee. You do have to use a fair amount in order for this to be worth it. But anyways, that's our end brew. Let's give it a taste. Yeah, super round and sweet, really nice acidity, nice balance. I'm super impressed with this brew and this recipe. I want to hear your thoughts. Please try it at home. Let me know what you think about it and what you think about this video. And if you liked this video and want to see similar content in the future, subscribe, turn on notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you again in the next one.